Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Mitch and this is Blow My Mind, a new series where I delve into topics that are fun, thought-provoking, and mainly ones which can fuel arguments and debates and discussions for hours on end. Now, I've decided to start this series because I wanted to do something which was a little bit more stimulating on my channel, a little bit different, and a little bit above and beyond the average live commentary which you're used to seeing on my channel and stuff like that. But also because many topics, whether based on religion, philosophy, sciences like psychology, astronomy, physics, become the topic of huge and above all pointless debates which seem to come along out of boredom, intoxication of alcohol, tiredness, or THC overload to the brain. But either, no matter where they've stemmed from, whether it's long walks home or another reason with friends, I'm sure a lot of you have got into these pointless, long, random discussions where you're talking about, oh, I wonder how the world ended, and oh, I wonder how this happens, and philosophical debates and things like that. And it's something that I really enjoy, actually. I get into those, and sometimes I come out of them feeling a bit worthless. I'm like, oh my god, I feel depressed. Someone give me a fucking black cape and I'll walk around like fucking Batman in emo, makeup. And other times I come out and I think, oh, that was different, and it makes me enthusiastic to look up more about it and stuff like that, and I become an all-out nerd. Most of the time I forget about it because, like I said, you're normally drunk and it tends to be pointless. But what I'm going to do is start the series. It's going to be a Gears of War gameplay, by the way, but I'm actually going to mix this up into different gameplays depending on what gameplays I can get. And I'm playing Black Ops a lot recently, so I'll probably put a lot of that up. But today I'm going to talk to you about more of a philosophical question, and hopefully you guys can listen to this, and hopefully you'll like it, and hopefully you'll have your own opinions and stuff, and maybe we can talk about it in the comment section, and you can have your own views on it and things like that. So this is probably one of my favourite philosophical things to start us off, and I've never studied philosophy, I never did it at college or anything, but I remember reading this book and I was in my bedroom and it was top 50 philosophical ideas or whatever, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a read. And this was one of these things that has stuck in my mind, and it's something I try and speak about with people when we get into these deep conversations, and like I said, we're drunk or whatever. And that is the Beetle in the box philosophy. Now, this is a work of fiction to portray a resemblance to our limitation to empathise with people, to put ourselves in other people's positions and to understand how other people tick and how we always base it on ourselves. So I'm just going to go ahead and pretty much tell you the story, and then you can kind of get an idea of where I'm coming from if you haven't heard this philosophy already. Now, this story is, well, it's not really a story, it's more of a way of, like I said, portraying something in real life. So everyone in the world gets a box at birth, and they're told that there is a beetle in the box, and they're allowed to look in their box and see the beetle, and they're allowed to talk to other people about their beetle. However, they are not allowed to look at anybody else's beetle. They're not allowed to show their beetle to anyone else. Everyone has their own beetle, it's for their eyes only, and they can talk about the beetle. Now, the problem with this, the little thing that comes into the end of this, is how do they know what is in their box is exactly the same as what is in the other people's box? How do they know their beetle is exactly what other people say about the beetle? How do they know that their beetle is a beetle and is exactly the same as everybody else's beetle in their box? Because they're not allowed to look in each other's box. And this is used in philosophy, which I find is really interesting, to symbolise what our perceptions of the environment, that we can't show people how we see the colour green, for example. So an external stimulus, say a leaf, how we look at the leaf and say, we say to one another, oh, I see this leaf as green, because our mind processes it and we see the light green and we say, yeah, that colour's green. And the person next to you can go, yeah, that's definitely green. But how do we know our version of green is exactly the same as their version of green? And one way of seeing how complicated this becomes is the fact that people that are colourblind often go undiagnosed as colourblind throughout their whole life, or it takes a long time for people to get diagnosed as it. And this makes you think of other things, maybe stuff like love. Obviously you have people that are homosexual, you have people that, you know, are well straight, and then you have people that are bisexual and stuff like that. And you can already see people are attracted to different people depending on their, you know, how their mind works, how they tick. And some of the things we take for granted, some of the things like pain and things like that, how do we know that our version of pain is exactly the same version of other people's pain? How do we know that when we listen to music, we process it in the same way as others? And to be honest, we probably don't, because we all like different things, we're all unique in our own way, and we all have our differences. And, you know, that just kind of begs the question, how far down the scale do you see things the same as people, and how different do we see things? And it's something that I find really interesting, and it's something that could, you know, explain a lot of behaviors. It's definitely seen in psychology as a way of trying to understand people's ability to empathize. I know some people are autistic and can't put themselves in other people's shoes and things like that, but at the same time, it's just quite a thought-provoking thing, and that Beetle kind of just shows our lack of ability to understand how people interpret other stuff, and we take things for granted. And I find that so amazing, that Beetle in the box. Our mind is like the Beetle in the box. It's something that no one can truly understand, and it's unique to us. And I think it's fair to say that you only see the best sides of people's Beetle in the box. You only see people's parts of how they process stuff in a way they want to tell you, because you only understand how people perceive the world, and how people process information by what they tell you. So when you judge your own feelings and your own thoughts and stuff like that against what people talk about themselves, whether it's on Facebook or whatever, say if everyone always seems optimistic about life and you're not so optimistic, that doesn't mean you're a fucking emo or clinically depressed or anything like that. That's just because you don't really know their Beetle. You don't really know what's happening in their mind. And I guess in that aspect, you often see things in a way that's unfair to compare to yourself, and what your inner feelings are, because you don't really get to see them for what they are. And there's loads of ways you can use this to explain lots of different behaviors and lots of different things, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to let you guys talk about it more in the comment section. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little commentary, and let me know if you like this series or the idea of this series, and leave some ideas for your own topics that you want me to talk about in the comment section as well if you want. So I hope you enjoyed Beetle in the Box, and I'll be back with episode 2 probably this week. So thank you very much, and good night.